We have some exclusive news about the Book of Boba. Knights of the Old Republic makes some big waves with the remake, and there's nothing else to talk about. So I do have some small information about the Kenobi series that we can talk about as well. All that and more here on Chatooine. Welcome back to Chatooine, everyone. I'm Star Wars Only, joined with Darth the Daddy Lunga and Palpamemes. How are you? How are you two doing?
What
Doing well.
Doing all
Pretty
right.
good.
Yes, Palpameme's the only one who's going to reveal their face today because I never
Yeah.
do. Lunga's just a hot mess. We saw him before, and
Reasons.
yeah, he needs his puppet to put himself on the
Bring
camera.
out George Lucas.
Oh yeah, good old George Lucas. One day he'll get a Pedro
Hey.
Pascal puppet, and that'll be the best one of all. But welcome back, everyone. If you're new here on Chatooine, we talk about news, topics, debates, and even chat about Star Wars. We're on Spotify for any podcast listeners. But if you're watching the show, leave a like and a comment in the stream so we can engage with you all. Super chat questions will be guaranteed an answer, and we only give the best answer, even if they are wrong. Then also a quick shout out to Inside Editions. If you guys want to get your Star Wars book, click the link in the description. You can get 15% off by using the Star Wars Saga discount code. We don't make shit off of that, but we can give you some discounts. The only promise is they'll send us a book or two for free every now and then, and they're cute as a button. So check those out if you guys want to, or if you haven't yet. But it's been a sadly a dry news cycle for Star Wars, except for the good news that we had this past week. I don't even know if it was like a week yet. I think it's been like maybe 3 or 4 days, but they revealed the new Knights of the Old Republic remake that's coming out, and this was at the PlayStation event, and it had good reactions. I feel like a lot of people were, for the most part, genuinely excited for it. Had some naysayers, but for the most part, this is a full-on remake, apparently, of Knights of the Old Republic. They don't have a release date. They did say it is a timed exclusive for PlayStation 5 and PC, which just means that eventually it will come to Xbox, and I don't know what else it could come to, a Nintendo Switch maybe. So we don't really know a lot about. What did you guys think of the KOTOR Remake announcement?
Go ahead.
Lunga, I know you.
Go ahead.
You want me to go ahead?
Yeah, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I'll
I
follow.
can't. I can't wait. It's funny because like I tried playing this game, like the original, as a kid. Probably was 6 years old, 7 years old. And I was like, this is stupid. This is the most boring thing ever because the gameplay is not all there, but the story is something that obviously the story is what drives the game the most. And so I haven't played the originals. I played a little bit of it. I know the overall story outline, but I never really got that full experience. So I'm excited to play this remake with a clean slate. A fresh mindset on everything. And I just can't wait for it. It looks great. Obviously, like, we just got a little bit of clip of Revan, but still, if the graphics look like that, you have me sold. But yeah, basically, I'm just looking forward to playing this epic story on a clean slate of mind with not a lot of nostalgia backing it. And I'm curious to see what kind of things they change and update about everything story-wise, if anything at all.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. By the way, I do want to comment on Goldman there. He got the hashtag wrong. It's hashtag cancel Goldman. That's what the hashtag is.
Cancel Chatooine.
Sorry, buddy. But
My bad, Goldman.
you're out. You're done. It's over. But yeah, no, super duper excited. Revan is one of my favorite all-time characters in all of Star Wars. I don't care if Star Wars only thinks he's Space Jesus. That doesn't happen until way later. It doesn't happen in KOTOR. It's way down the line, and a lot of people don't even recognize that because that was the MMO, wasn't it? When they did that story?
Yeah, it's in SWOTOR. They really expand on it.
SWOTOR. Do you even Star Wars, bro?
It's
but
so
yeah.
corny.
Yeah, super excited to see Revan. I mean, again, if we think about KOTOR, Revan's pretty much, except at the very beginning, he's pretty much all flashbacks because his memories are gone pretty much throughout the whole game. But yeah, super dope to have Revan. Basila Shan, I think she's a great character. I mean, ridiculously great. And I just love their story, right? It's like she falls in love with him, and he's a Jedi originally, then he becomes a Sith, then he becomes I don't know what I am. I'm a pilot, and I'm helping you, and then I become a Jedi again. It's just a fantastic story, and I think it really gives me that feel. I was talking about this with Papa Memes the other day on his show. It gives me that big. It's a deep lore thing for me because they really, I felt, worked hard on making it feel like how we are with like medieval times, for example, like Arthurian legend. It felt like that Arthurian legend of Star Wars, if you will. You know what I mean? Like it was like distant past, and it was so much more deep lore with it. So I'm super stoked to see it. The graphics look ridiculous. Now again, those were cinematics. We don't know what gameplay is going to look like at all. But you know, if any indication of how way games are made nowadays, I'm pretty sure it should be pretty good looking.
It's gonna be great. Yeah,
It's gonna be great. I do agree that it does feel like kind of ancient in the Star Wars universe. Like anytime you talk about the Old Republic, I mean the name, of course, Old Republic, indicates that it's in the past. But the Old Republic even lasted up until A New Hope. When Tarkin walks in, he says all the remnants of the Old Republic are completely gone, and we have this new empire. The Senate's just controlled by the Empire. And what's really unique about the Old Republic is how many Jedi and how many Sith, and the fact that it's a big, massive war going between each other. I'm not the biggest fan of Revan as compared to most people today. I do like the character for the most part, but I really love the characters that are in the Knights of the Republic game. So I'm really hoping we see like HK-47 return, Bastila Shan. What's the name of the Grey Jedi? The one with the purple lightsaber that you meet in Kashyyyk.
I forgot the name.
I forgot his name too, but he
Bastila Shan's definitely going to be in it. I mean, she was.
She has
yeah,
to be.
yeah.
Jennifer Hale, who voiced her, was the one who did the teaser. Big shout out to I can't say Ravindra is the last name, but they said
Thanura Ravindra.
Thank you. I think we need to emphasize that Sam Maggs doesn't have 100% autonomy on KOTOR. Courtney Woods does. And didn't Courtney Woods work on SWTOR or one of the older games for Knights of the Republic? I can't remember exactly her involvement, but yeah, people are kind of worried about what's going to happen with the remake because so here's my thing is, do you guys think they should redo the story from the bottom up, or should they just kind of do what they already did? And I'll give my take on it first. I really think they should reimagine the story would be the best term for it. I think Pablo Memes, you guys are talking in the chat we have about Revan and Bastila Shan being a Force dyad. And I think if they could write the story in that way, I think it would work really well. And I think there's a lot you can do with Revan. And I didn't really like Revan's character arc after Knights of the Republic because in SWTOR, he becomes Space Jesus. I mean, he has two Force spirits. One is dark side, one is light side. He revives himself by like sheer will. It's really overpowered, and I really did not like that about the Old Republic era. I think they have an opportunity now to kind of scale back the overpoweredness of it, but also fix and refine some of the story. Like I really don't want Emperor Vitiate to be a thing. I thought he was an interesting character for the time, having another Sith Emperor, but the fact that Darth Revan or at the time Revan and Alec go and they try to confront the Emperor and then they come back and they're just manipulated by him. And then Revan's like kept on life support by the Emperor for however many years. Stuff like that I didn't really think was great storytelling. So I hope they kind of changed it up with this one. But what do you guys think? Palpa Memes, I know you're a little bit more unfamiliar with actually like the gameplay mechanics, but when it comes to the story of KOTOR, do you want it to be remade? Do you want it to be reimagined? Or do you think they should stick to what worked?
I think because obviously if they change one little thing, there's going to be a lot of fans that go in an interruption, which is okay. I'm not saying they're wrong for getting mad at that. But I definitely pretty much agree with you only. I think the best way to do it, and this is just me, is if they keep the character arcs consistent with the original story, keep the overall outline for the original story the same, but of course you're going to have to fit it into canon and stuff. Is KOTOR 2 where we have Nihilus basically suck a planet up with the Force?
Yes.
So obviously you can't do that. Like, you cannot do that. I'm sorry. That makes literally zero sense at all. It's a cool power thing. It's a cool power fantasy thing for a game, but if they are going to make this canon, which is still one of those things where we don't know a definite answer on, which kind of irritates me personally. I really wish we would just know, is this going to be canon or is this a legend story? I would like to know, but say it is canon, they definitely need to change some things up a bit. But like I said, I think as long as they keep the character arcs the same, because I know the overall outline and everything, and I love Revan, I love Bastila And I think it would be really, really, really neat way, as we talked about earlier in the chat and stuff, if they actually like go forward with them and actually make them a dyad, because obviously in Rise and stuff, Palpatine says unseen for generations. Well, generations can be in anything. It could be 4,000 years. It could be in the prequel era. And I think that would just be a very cool callback to the sequel trilogy and to the new canon and stuff. While also making sense within the original story and the current story itself. So that's one thing I think a lot of people have been pushing for. But overall, yeah, keep the character arcs the same, keep the story overall the same, but you're going to have to fix some power levels and inconsistencies with that because it can get wild in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
if you
mean,
thought. Go ahead.
yeah. The first thing we do want to keep in mind is this is a remake of KOTOR. It's not KOTOR 2. It's not SWTOR.
Yeah.
It's KOTOR. And a lot of those massive power swings weren't really in the first game as much. So, I mean, this game, they don't really have to adjust too much. I do think the time frame will change. I don't think it's going to be 4,000 years. I think it'll be... Because with the High Republic is, well, what are we at? 400 years before the prequels, right?
Yeah,
in
400 to
Republic,
500
right?
before the Phantom
Yes.
Menace.
So I think they may adjust the timeline and make this maybe like 1,000 years or 1,500 years before the prequels. You know, not that far back. I think they're going to try to condense the timeline. That's what I think because it's so stretched out.
I would like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But didn't they say in the article 4,000 years, or was that just something I read from?
That was reference to Legends. That's what's confusing about it.
I know. Yeah.
The article is very
We don't
touch
know.
and go. Yeah.
We don't
Well,
know. I mean, they're calling it a remake. So
Well, do you guys want it to be canon, or do you want it to stay as Legends? Because I think it should be canon in some capacity. But if they're going to here's my thing. If they're just going to remake it and redo the story exactly the way it was originally, fine, keep it Legends, and we'll deal with Revan and canon another way. But if you're going to remake and reimagine the story, even ever so slightly, you need to make it canon. This is not something that you can get everyone on board with and then tell them, oh, but this never happened.
Right, that's what I agree with too. It's the same thing, you know, make it canon if you're going to do it. The dyad thing, again, even though the way they threw it in the sequel trilogy, I thought that this was kind of dumb. But when you think about the story with Revan and stuff, it kind of ties it all together and it starts to make sense when you look at it that way with Revan and Bastila, because they had a similar thing, just didn't call it that. But yeah, that would make sense. And yeah, reimagine a little, you know, tweak things here and there, right? And make it part of canon, because I really think. Seriously, they really want to visit that in canon. I think they want to make movies or series. They want to hit Revan, Malik. They want to hit these characters, and I really think that Disney wants to use them. It'd be silly for them to spend all this time and effort to just remake a game exactly as it was, keep it Legends, and then try to reimagine Revan in their own stuff.
Well, also, how confusing would it be for the... I don't know why my camera's so blurry. I apologize. But, like, I really wanted to bring in... It'd be actually really dumb of Lucasfilm to make this insanely huge game, it not be canon, and then make, like, a movie or show within the same time period and be like, oh, this is the canon version. Casual audiences are going to be like, wait, I played the game and none of this is consistent with the game itself. What is going on? I don't think Lucasfilm is going to do that. I think that'd be a very, very dumb move because, I mean, you're going to have all this confusion and everything going on and all this. Honestly make the game feel kind of unnecessary because you have a game that already exists and a story that already exists that's already established to be Legends. It's whatever. And then you're going to do that again. I don't know. really can't see them doing
it. Sounds
that.
It sounds like a cash grab. Like, oh, let's just bring this game back.
Exactly. It's like, what's the point of me, obviously graphics wise, but what's the point of me playing a reimagined version of the story that already exists, yet the story doesn't even mean anything because it has no actual continuity or truth with the actual canon. I can't see them doing that, and I hope they don't.
Yeah.
I don't want like canon to be something that's extremely boring because I'm going to be honest, I feel like canon right now is kind of boring. Like that's what sucks is like I've just read the Darth Bane novel, the very first one, Path of Destruction, and God, what a fucking story. Like, what a fucking story. And it's sad because it takes place in this timeline that's just vastly so much more interesting than what we're really going through right now. Even if you like the sequel trilogy, it feels very limiting on what we can do with the universe at that time. You don't have that with the Old Republic. And mainly without what we have in canon right now, like we don't really know anything before the High Republic. We know that there was the Zepho, who were like a species who could use the Force, and they went extinct and whatnot. And we know that Darth Bane started the Rule of Two. And I guess because of the Rise of Skywalker visual guidebook or whatever, certain Sith like Nihilus and Revan and I think even Malik are canon, and that's cool and all. But you can change so much of that when you go back to the Old Republic like we are now. Now you can set the foundation to build great stories set during this timeline, and I think it's the right way to go forward, because think about what they're doing with the Acolyte series. The guys from KRT, Corey Van Dyke, I think is his name, he said that Revan is going to be appearing in the Acolyte series in some form or another. That would be so cool, even if it's a holocron, even if it's just a textbook referencing him, and whoever the Acolyte is learning about Revan's teachings. This is how you could tie that into this new remake. And I think this is such a good story in general. I think people really forget how impactful Knights of the Republic was back when it originally came out. I mean, probably means me and you were very young when it came out, but I remember playing it myself as a teenager and being baffled with the story and the twist at the end that you are Revan. And Lunga, I know you'll probably remember this, is people freaked out at that. Like that was almost as big of a shock as Darth Vader saying, "No, I am your father." Very few games could do that on a story level, and the fact that the sequel, KOTOR 2, is arguably better story-wise. Some people don't like the gameplay as much, but a lot of people like that in terms of refinement of story. So this is a very, very good time to go to for Lucasfilm, and it would be an absolute waste if they didn't make it canon. I do want to ask you guys, though, because there's two controversies about this game so far, and I want to talk about both of them. Well, actually, before we get to that, I guess I have to get to some of these super chats, because we got 3 like in a row. So big shout out to everybody in the chat. This first one says, "Do you think they will keep it the original way it was played, turn-based, or be influenced by Fallen Order or something else?"
It won't be turn-based.
I don't think it will.
Pray to God it's not.
It's too slow now. I mean, that's honestly all you have to do to remake the game and remaster it is make the gameplay better, and people stay on it forever. So
that's how they've changed some Final Fantasy games by not making them turn-based anymore and stuff. So no, it won't be turn. I doubt it'll be turn-based.
I'd be very disappointed if it was a Fallen Order type gameplay and that scale of game. Oh my gosh, I don't even know what I'd do.
Honestly, if you tell me there's a Star Wars game where you can pick like a Force user, whether it be Sith or Jedi, and they get to fight each other, but you get to kind of pick the style, like what lightsaber form they're using and the weaknesses, and like you tell me that, I'm geeking out and I'm doing that forever. I love fighting games.
Gold edition.
Please don't let it be though exactly like Fallen Order. I do not need that Dark Souls gameplay. I do not need more of that. I
had a problem with
I'm
the
getting
gameplay
too freaking old for that.
It was a lot better than what was in the original KOTOR. So.
Well, yeah, but I won't end up finishing it because I didn't finish Fallen Order, because it's just that gameplay is just too much for me. I can't.
Jedi Academy is still the best lightsaber combat game I've played.
Jedi Academy really does it well. Yeah. I think Fallen Order is the best one in terms of fluidity. I really like Fallen Order as a game, but I would appreciate a more happy medium between that and KOTOR. I don't want a turn-based game. I want something that's a little adventurous, that you feel like you have a say in how your character progresses. That's one of the things people really liked about the original one. On the SWOTOR, thank you very much for the super chat. Grievous Reborn, he says, "SWOTOR is my favorite Star Wars game, and it pisses me off that so many people want to see it wiped away just because they are butthurt over Revan."
Star Wars only.
Now, yeah, I'll be honest. I do feel like they did Revan dirty, and it's almost like they looked at what the fans liked about Revan, and they just kept going with that in terms of, everyone thinks he's extremely overpowered. Let's just keep going with it. I will argue I'm a bigger SWOTOR defender than most gamers and most Star Wars fans, because I fucking love that game. And since I started my channel, I haven't had the PC to do it or the equipment, but I have always dreamed about streaming that game and having like a series of me playing it, even though it's almost 10 years old. That game was so cool to me growing up, and it still is today. So I absolutely love SWOTOR. It's already not canon, and I will, even as a fan of it, the Sith everyone is overpowered as hell in that game. I mean, you can summon like lightning from the sky in that game.
Yoda.
There's so many things. Yeah. I mean, he was a Force ghost, I guess.
Palpatine summoned lightning from. I mean,
his fingers.
bro.
Yeah, that was lightning. That was
That's the
Palpatine. I
power
mean,
of
not
the
Palpatine.
dyad. That's
I
why
was gonna call him Palpamemes and not Palpatine.
I
That was
I
the
do that
power of
too.
Palpamemes.
You don't know what
See,
I'm up to.
it's different if Palpatine does it because he's supposed to be the most powerful Sith of all time. Every fucking Sith back in the day could do like the coolest shit in the world. Like it was just like where you level up and then you can just take out a whole army by yourself. Extremely overpowered, but it's a video game, so
Yeah,
I
Force
guess I
Unleashed.
expect it. Force Unleashed.
Don't get me started on that
You
game.
can't complain about Rey if you're cool with Galen.
Yeah,
Merrick,
thank you.
But she did a mind
character.
trick. Only, come on.
Fuck the mind trick. That dude literally brought down a Star Destroyer.
He
It was
did.
Crashing.
Yeah.
It was crashing. Well, I don't
And
give
it
a
was
fuck. All right.
awesome.
Well, can we also mention how he basically free falled from like space?
Oh yeah. In the second one,
Yeah, the second one he free fall from space, bro. I mean,
it's such
The
a
song
fucking
played,
good game,
right?
though.
Free Fall.
I don't care. That game is ridiculous, but it was so fun.
it was
ridiculous.
fun to play.
Yeah.
Because it's just fun being that powerful when you get, that was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, lore wise, continuity wise, you're like, no, this is dumb.
Yeah.
But just gameplay, it was fun.
RJ Dorian, big supporter of the channel. Thank you for the super chat. He says, "I know it's confusing with KOTOR being remade, possibly canon. I wonder how a Malik, Bane, and other Old Republic era will fit canon before the High Republic." I'm definitely curious on what they're going to do with Malik and Bane. Not so much. I hope they reintroduce Bane in some capacity. There's been some rumors about it, but it's hard to tell if those will ever come to fruition anytime soon, at least. So, what do you guys think about Malik? Do you guys think Malik should be in this still as like Revan's old friend that was also corrupted and he became the Sith Master, or do you think they should kind of steer away from Malik and make Revan the true villain of the series?
I think they could focus more on Revan for the most part. I mean, obviously he's going to be the main focus just based on that teaser alone. I mean, how big of a story do we want this to be? Do we want this to be just focusing solely on Revan? Obviously, you have the exposition and the world building and everything. I think as long as it doesn't take away too much from Revan's arc and everything, I think I'd be okay with it.
What about you, Glunga? You want Malik
I mean,
back?
There has to be someone who's running things while he's not brainwashed isn't the right term. Memory wiped, I guess, whatever you want to call it. There has to be someone running things, and Malik just makes sense as his apprentice. Anyone else, if you just plug someone else in there, starts to become, I think, meaningless. I know what the point is to hype up Revan more, but I don't know. Malik, I think, fits better. I don't think changing that will be good.
That's a good point. I think Malik, Bastila, Revan, they all need to stay. You can kind of change some of the side characters. Like there's that cat lady people have been talking about. HK-47, I think people are going to be really upset if he's not in it because he's funny. He calls everyone meatbags and shit. Like he's really great. When it comes to the controversies, though, the small one is the exclusivity thing. It's going to be timed exclusivity for PlayStation 5 and PCs, and a lot of people are upset with that because exclusivity normally means that we cannot have a shared experience as a community, and we're excluding people from this game, mainly Microsoft fans and Xbox fans. Do you guys think this is a good move that Lucasfilm should set this precedent so early into this kind of freedom that they have post EA? Like, what do you guys think about the exclusivity deal? Palpamemes, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I will say before I get into it, I think the way they're talking about it was really dumb. Kind of on the same plane as them not being very clear if this is canon or not, because most people think that it's never coming to Xbox, but that's not the case. It's a timed exclusive. It's going to be coming to Xbox in later date. That said, they really should have made that very clear, but I think Sony was probably like, hey, just don't mention Xbox at all to get more people to buy their PlayStations. Oh, no, I need a PS5 to play this game. But they were really kind of dumb to not make that clear at all. But at the end of the day, I'm still very disappointed that Lucasfilm is having that exclusivity or whatever for PlayStation and PC, I believe. Even though it's only going to be for a certain amount of time, because like you said, the story, everyone's going to get the story spoiled for them. So you're not going to, these Xbox players, and I'm an Xbox player, I'm on PC now, but I've been an Xbox player my whole life before I got a PC, so I kind of sympathize with them a little bit more. It would really suck to have this insanely huge game come out, especially if it's canon, and then not be able to enjoy the story on your own terms. Instead, you just get everything spoiled for you because it didn't come out for the Xbox until 3 months after the game released originally, or whatever it may be. I'm really against the idea, but on the bright side, it kind of gives more truth, possibly, to that rumor that a Mandalorian type game was coming exclusively for the Xbox. Because when they first that rumor first floated around, I was like, are they going to do exclusivity games? And turns out, yeah. So I guess on the bright side, we have more kind of trustworthy stuff for that source. But other than that, I think it's a really bad move on Lucasfilm's end, or whoever was the decider on that.
That's
Don't you think
the
it'd be
thing.
weird if it would go on like this? Like, here's my hypothetical that I put is that if Jedi Fallen Order, actually, let's just use the Mandalorian game for example. Let's say they announce a Mandalorian game next year, exclusive only to Xbox. Do we not have a right to be pissed? Like, let's say hypothetically
Absolutely.
as well that like that's going to be exclusive to Xbox, and then just yet again hypothetical, if KOTOR the remake is an exclusive only to PlayStation, I'd be fucking pissed because it's like I have to buy both consoles to play both games. As a Star Wars fan, that's infuriating. The middle ground would be if it's PC, but I love PC Master Race people. They're absolutely right. It is the best way to go. However, not everyone's a PC enthusiast, and not everyone has the money for a PC as well. It's a lot easier to say, here's $500 on a console, and it just fucking works when I open it, instead of doing all the stuff you have to do.
You don't have to build it. You don't have to do
Sure,
all this.
sure. I mean,
Yeah, well-
you know, but the easy answer is don't buy fucking Xbox. I mean, it's that simple. Buy PlayStation. No, I know.
come on,
I
man.
know. I know I sound a little biased there.
What are you gonna do about the Mandalorian game?
Let's think about this though. Well, again, I'm a PC guy, and I have, this is the point I was going to make. I have Game Pass, so I can play pretty much anything as an Xbox on PC. But here's the thing we got to keep in mind: Microsoft, it's a huge company. Let's not pretend it's not, okay? And it tries to make its agreements and wrestle people and developers depending on what they're doing. And I'm pretty sure the reason why this could have happened. Again, it's speculation, but the reason why it may not have even been Lucasfilm. It might have been Microsoft saying, okay, well, you know what? Hey, we want it to be for PC players exclusive on Game Pass. And Lucasfilm could have said, no, we want all PC players to play it. And Microsoft, no, if we have a deal, we want it to be on Game Pass. And it's like, well, screw you. Let's put it on Sony and PC then. We're not going to do it with you guys. I mean, that's a possibility. We don't know all the details. There could be a million reasons why it didn't happen, or it could be happening. It's just they're still working on the deal. It's just like HBO Max when that came out. It was on every damn service except the biggest one, Amazon. I couldn't put it on my Fire Stick. I had to like wait months before it was available on there. It could just be part of the agreement. And so it may not be purposely done that way, you know. It could just be literally that they're still hashing it out. And who knows? For all we know, I mean, because we're looking at probably, 2023 for this game? You know?
I'd say so.
At the earliest, I mean, for being honest, like I'd be so fucking surprised if they said it
Yeah.
came out next year.
But I mean, considering how long it is, there could be a possibility that it could be announced it's going to be on Xbox before then. You know, I think it's too early to tell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another super chat. Thank you guys so much. It says it's weird that Malik started out as equals with Revan, became his apprentice. They're both friends of the dark side at the same time. Make them equals. I don't think I would disagree with this in terms of the reimagining of the story. I really wouldn't mind if Malik was more of a challenge to Revan and more of an equal, because it really did, at least in the original story, it's pretty apparent that Malik is like the bottom bitch in the sense of like he is only the Sith Lord in KOTOR because Revan had his memory wiped and doesn't remember that he's actually a badass and a Sith Lord. So I think Malik should be more of a threat in this new game, and I think they should make the Sith. I mean, I'm just excited that we're getting Sith that are not named Palpatine and Vader. That alone is extremely enticing for me. What do you guys think? Should Malik be equal to him, or should he be the lesser of the two still?
I kind of like the whole apprentice thing, but again, that doesn't mean he's not going to grow in power in the dark side very, very quickly. You know, I mean, so he doesn't have to start. They could start out as equals, and it could change. You know, obviously during that period, he can grow really, really fast. I mean, that's the whole point of dark side, right? You get power really, really quickly, and you know, it grows exponentially way faster than anything else. What I would say when we were talking about how, you know, maybe changing this or that, I think this would be a pretty good idea. Keep Malik as the villain. Keep him doing what he's doing. But instead of, because correct me if I'm wrong, but in the game, he turns Bastila, then Revan fights Bastila, then he turns her back, and then they both go after Malik, and he kills Malik. Correct? Isn't that how it went in the game?
I think so.
Yeah.
I remember him turning her, and then I remember at the end both of
Right.
Revan and
I say this: have her turn Bastila, have Bastila kill him, become the Sith Lord, Revan confront her, and then you get that choose your own adventure ending.
I'm sold. I like that. I like the because that kind of keeps to the idea of like I guess you could say rule of two, or like I always like the idea of like if a Sith is trying to become powerful, they have to kill the person who's more powerful than them,
Right.
and that's how
And
they
not
kinda
know
break
it.
up.
Like you don't know that she killed Malik. Like let's say people think Malik's still there, and then when you get to that final confrontation, it's her, not Malik.
Yeah, I like that. I think that'd be a good way to go. I'm super curious on what they're gonna do with the reimagining. Shout out to Dan the Man for the super chat. I think he may have a new Star Wars fan film you guys can check out. Shoot the link as long as it's appropriate. I saw a meme that said I don't know if I sent it to you guys in the chat, but it was that Greedo came first, like parody Star Wars Pono thing. Good God. So I think the last question I'll have for KOTOR, because it's been a good conversation for it, is the SJW aspect of this. Recently, a bunch of Star Wars fans realized that one of the writers is a lady named Sam Maggs, I believe. I made a video about it today. I can't remember the lady's name, but she is pretty clearly left leaning. She's pretty clearly lining up, I guess, with a typical definition of SJW. And I only say that because she talked about misogyny and patriarchy, and those two are like checkboxes in the SJW world, I guess. But a lot of people are worried that this is going to be a woke Star Wars game because she is one of the writers on this. Are either of you concerned about this at all? What do you guys think about this lady being involved with Star Wars? I mean, she did say her favorite game was not Knights of the Republic.
Oh my gosh. She said she liked Rey. She said she liked Last Jedi. This is a shame. Man, I made a whole video on it too. People seem to enjoy it. I had fun making it, but holy cow. I was very disappointed to see the Star Wars fandom once again attack and harass someone who's done no wrong. It's just very shameful that this is a cycle that continues to happen over and over, and the fact that it's happening over the very thing that fans have been asking for a very long time now makes me even more pissed off about it. That said, it's absolutely hilarious to just see these people cry over this. They're making up problems that do not exist. They're predicting the future over literally nothing. And the funniest part is the hypocrisy. 6 months ago, or however long, Gina Carano got fired because of a lot of controversial political stuff, right?
Right. What did Sam Maggs? As far as I know, she didn't say anything. What did she even say?
She's literally she's left wing. That's all. She doesn't have to say these people like Ryan, whatever his name is. All these, I would use a word, but I'm not going to use it. They're making all these videos. They're putting like demon eyes over her face and stuff, and saying she hates Star Wars fan, attacks Star Wars fan. She hates Star Wars. She hates Old Republic. And they're blatantly lying to fuel this agenda and narrative. They want that money because it's easy videos to make. It takes no creativity at all. Anyone can do it. I have no respect for it, but it's insane. Yeah, she's left wing, okay, but if anyone knows how any of the video game industries or any entertainment industry where they're writing a story, specifically a story that already exists, you would know, even if you have the littlest piece of information about it, you would know that someone's political views 99% of the time, unless they are the main writer of a new story, is not going to be shoved in to this pre-existing story or whatever it would be. Let alone all this stuff. Say she did try and force all this crap in there, Lucasfilm more than likely would be like, no. She's not the head writer. She's like a co-writer for it. We don't even know what part she's writing exactly. Is it the dialogue? Is it some other stuff? Is it a certain part of the story?
It's not even that. It's because they think because this is what it is. They think she hates male Star Wars fans, and it automatically means she's going to somehow make a bad game because she hates male Star Wars fans, which is even a lie. Not even a lie. People don't understand terminology. She said something like, she said, die mad about it, which is like a phrase.
It's a Twitter phrase that happens all the time.
Exactly.
Hey, guess what? To all the snowflakes out there, it's called a joke.
Is that right? And it's no different than you mad, bro? You mad, bro? I mean, that's all it is. It's just like, stay mad. That's all it is. God, and if you're going to get that worried about it, or that like, oh, she hates men, maybe you should rethink who you're calling sensitive.
These people. Yeah, it's the most ironic backwards thing, and it's like, the tweets that these people were using, that doofus data race or whatever used her tweet saying her liking Last Jedi, saying she loves Jen and Rey, and then my favorite one was her posting a picture of her with a shirt that says Star Wars is for everyone. Like, wow, that's god awful. She's gonna ruin Star
I
Wars.
was really confused by that. Like they were like, "Oh, we
Was
got
that
her."
evidence?
She said, "Yeah." She's like, "Star Wars is for everyone." It's like, got her, you dumb
Let alone
bitch. It's like,
this
what the fuck?
this stuff was from 5-6 years ago. All this crap was around TLJ time, which is a very highly controversial time. So obviously she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna have some fun with this." But my favorite part about this that I don't see a lot of people talking about, and I talked about in my video, is the man himself, Taika Waititi. What did he do right after his Star Wars film was officially announced? He said he cannot wait to ruin his favorite franchise. Where was all the all the controversy about this? And people go, "Well, he's joking." I'm like,
bingo. Well,
I mean,
she. I mean, here she.
I understand her political views are.
Okay. Well, let's be fair. I understand when they're comparing to Gina Carano. I get it why, because the words may be a joke, but she is fighting for a certain ideology. Okay,
right,
so
but that has nothing to do with what she's going to do as a writer in a video game.
I agree.
That's my issue with it. Yeah.
I agree completely. But there is a difference between Taika Waititi. Taika Waititi is a comedian. It's done for the sake of joke. Hers isn't. It's still infused with some political rhetoric. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's still there. The only difference I'll make, like, by the way, I'm not someone who said they should have fired Gina Carano. I don't think they should have. I think it's dumb firing people over their personal beliefs. But at the same time, it is a case of, well, you kept talking. What do you think was going to happen? You sometimes you have to choose career over free speech, and that's just the reality of being in this kind of industry. But the stuff Gina Carano was saying, and this is not again indicting her, saying that's what she meant, but the stuff she was saying is linked with a lot of hatred, a lot of
death.
Murder. Death, okay. I mean, the stuff she's saying about the patriarchy or whatever, it maybe hurts your feelings. Maybe you can disagree with her ideology, but her ideology isn't about mass death and genocide, and I'm not saying Gina Carano's is, but that's where the link differs a little bit, guys. It's it's a little different there. It's like saying, oh, I'm friends with a guy who drove without insurance and he got arrested, he's a criminal, and the other dude says, I'm friends with someone who was a murderer. It's a little different. It's just a slight difference there.
Yeah, not to mention, maybe it was some reporters or something. They came out and talked about how they talked to some Lucasfilm employees, and apparently Gina was causing a lot of drama and stuff within, like the everything itself. I can't say whether that's 100% true or not. I can't remember where I read that, but like, there's more to that story and everything. It was a long history of stuff that was going on that led to that. Not saying I agree or disagree with it, but I know it's just backwards how people are now wanting Sam to get fired because of her, literally just because of her political beliefs, as if it's going to be in the story that she's not even the lead writer for.
No, and if you're complaining that Gina Carano shouldn't get fired, do you think firing her balances the scales? I mean, what is it? That's the thing I don't understand.
Get you back.
Like, if you seriously believe Gina Carano should not be fired, and it is personally just destroying you that she got fired, the injustice of it. If you believe in justice, even if you disagree with Sam Maggs, you should say, well, she shouldn't be fired either. You don't have to like it. You don't have to, right? Guys, you got to remember, standing for a certain ideology or a certain justice, whatever case you want to be, you got to stand for it equally, not just because you agree with the person. It's a whole free speech is great until it's used against you. That's what everyone loves free speech until it's used against you.
That's the whole. I may disagree with what you say, but I would die for your right to say it.
Exactly.
I slightly disagree with you, Lunga, on the aspect of like the difference between Gina's comments and Sam Maggs. I don't really find I'm not gonna say a moral equivalence. I just feel like, regardless, neither of them should have any consequences for what they say. But right. I also think that the more important aspect when comparing Gina and Sam is Gina is a celebrity. Sam Maggs is some lady on Twitter. She's not a huge influence. She doesn't have the mass following that Gina Carano has. And also, say what you will about Sam Maggs, Gina has lined herself up with extremely controversial people, even in Star Wars, even outside of Star Wars she has. But within Star Wars, she's lined herself up with people who despise and constantly shit on the new stuff, which is, you're allowed to not like the new stuff, but it boils down to a point where some of these people have fans who harass people at Lucasfilm. So Gina lining herself up with people like that
Yep.
is not a great look, as opposed to Sam Maggs, where even people at Lucasfilm can look at her and go, she looks insane because she's talking about taking down the patriarchy and that white women have internalized misogyny. It's stuff like that where you're like, okay, she's ridiculous, but it's not worthy of being fired. It's someone to ignore, and that's how I felt about Gina Carano, and that's
Exactly.
how I feel about Sam Maggs.
Exactly. That's
a
the
good
point I was trying
point.
to make.
Yeah. Gina's a huge forefront face of Lucasfilm and Star Wars. Sam Maggs is a writer, co-writer for a game. It's like they're completely different scales.
Yeah. Well, that's all I have for the KOTOR news. If you guys want to move on, the next little bit of the show is just going to be kind of like some exclusive stuff that we've heard over the past, I think, a month now, and I spent some time getting at least this first part confirmed. So we have heard about the cameos being in the Book of Boba. We've heard from credible outlets like LRM Online that Cad Bane, Bosk, and even Din Djarin are going to be showing up in the series. But I do have 2 to 3 more cameos to reveal in today's show. So first of all, big shout out to. What the fuck?
I apologize. We're about to get to the Book of Boba Fett leaks, and my doofus brother comes in screaming Mace Windu.
He's not wrong, because Mace Windu will be showing up in the Unplaying. That's not who it is.
I was like, wait, you didn't tell me this.
No,
actually, that was Goldman. Goldman's been hanging out with my partner.
Goldman would burst in like that.
He told me he's gonna do that too. He's like, I'm gonna come in yelling a Sith Lord during you guys' show. I'm like, come on, dude. He always does that
timed
too.
It perfectly. I'm not gonna lie, and plus the delivery was great. But
Oh,
a
it's
big
great.
shout out to Star Wars editor. He's the guy who made the logo for Chatooine. Great guy. And he also gave me a lot of he was the first person to give me some of this information and gave me the lead on this. So a really big shout out to him. But after he told me some of this, I think 3 weeks to a month ago, I followed it up and confirmed it with 2 to 3 independent sources who don't really have any relation to each other. So here's the scoop. I've learned that Han Solo and Luke Skywalker will be appearing in the Book of Boba series. One source, it was kind of weird. One source told me that he knew about Luke but didn't know about Han, and the other one said he knew about Han but had no idea about Luke. But one of them kind of teased that Luke Skywalker's return should be a lot more obvious to us fans because they hired the guy from the deepfake for Luke on YouTube. So that kind of makes sense. But this source also said he didn't know anything about Han appearing, and the other source confirmed Han appearing in the series. But he also added that we're returning to that planet. What's it called? Takadana, whatever the fuck.
Man.
Takadana. I'm awful.
Come on, man.
I'm awful with my own name, if we're being honest. So Takadana is going to be appearing in the series, and we're going to be returning to Maz Kanata's castle from The Force Awakens. My source specifically mentioned that they're going to be using the Book of Boba to explain why we see his ship outside of Maz Kanata's castle in Battlefront 2. If you guys remember on that map for Maz's castle, you see Boba's ship, Slave One, kind of like off. I think you can I don't think you can interact with it, but I think you can get really close to it.
You can jump on it. You can jump on
Are
it.
you really saying there's a massive storyline and characters being added to explain a blip in a video game?
We're getting a show
It's
about
canon,
Boba
though.
Fett.
Yeah,
of course
it's
there is.
Still a blip in
What
a
else-
video
listen,
game.
It's a way to tie it in. I mean, honestly,
I don't think that's the reason. I think it's a happy side effect, but I don't think it's the reason.
I think it's one of the things that led to the decision of it going to that
Connects.
castle. Because also don't forget, his flag is there, right? The Mandalorian flag is
Yeah.
on that castle, so they could explain why that's there. So yeah, I don't know if Maz is in it. I can't confirm or deny if she is going to be in the series, but I can confirm that Han Solo and Luke Skywalker will be making cameos in the series. And this kind of makes sense because StarWarsNews.net, they also revealed, I think within the past week, that Boba in the series is kind of on a revenge streak. So do you guys think this means he's going after Han and Luke and giving us a good reason for their cameos? I'll give this to you first, Longa.
What was the question about the cameos? What would you say?
Do you think this is like him being on a revenge streak is how they're going to introduce Luke and Han?
I mean, you talked about how that was the scuttlebutt, right? Is that it's supposed to be a revenge streak, which makes sense, right? And yeah, I mean, he has a bone to pick with Han and Luke. obviously. So yeah, I think it could be, but he's obviously going to get his ass kicked, right?
Please let him.
I mean, let's be
Throw him down the
let's
Sarlacc pit.
I mean, did we forget how he died in Return of the Jedi?
I don't
He
know
got
what you're
bumped
talking about. He was
by
drinking. Didn't
by
you
a
see the
blind
robot chicken?
Han
Robot
Solo.
chicken?
Let's-
He was drinking mimosas before he flew. All right,
It's on the death sticks.
he's drunk
Yeah.
better when he flies.
Yeah, I mean, Lucas literally made him a joke at the end there purposely. I mean, it was like, oh look, he got killed by a blind Han Solo, but he's getting hit in the backpack, jetpack. Yeah, I don't. You see, I don't. Unfortunately, I don't see any other way for them to fit in, right? Because he's not going to go talk to them just to talk to them about something. You know what I mean? There's obviously going to be tied into unresolved issues, right? Jeez, I do want to see Book of Boba, and I'm happy for it, but I just don't know how well this part is going to play. I'm worried about that.
It's kind of interesting what they're going to do with Han. Honestly, they said they do it while filming Indy. He has face dots. Here's my thing. I have no idea who is playing Han Solo in this. Even the guy who knew about Han appearing in it didn't. I asked him like, who's playing it, and he was like, I don't remember, some young guy. And I think he was referring to Alden Ehrenreich. Alden definitely has a contract with Lucasfilm, at least for like sequels to Solo. And I definitely know that they are trying to do something with Darth Maul and Kira. A couple other people have confirmed that as well. But a while back, I talked about Darth Maul returning to live action. So there's going to be something with Darth Maul. I don't know if that's going to tie into Alden Ehrenreich's Han Solo. And
Get a Kira, make a they're gonna. This is my prediction. They're gonna make a Kira spinoff for her, and Darth Maul is gonna be, even though she's technically the bad guy and working for Maul. I think she's gonna be working for Maul, but then there's gonna be a switch, and there's gonna be a confrontation with Maul and stuff like that. But I think it's mostly gonna be a Kira centric one, and Maul's gonna be like one of the main antagonists, if you will.
yeah, that would make sense. And we have no idea when or if this series is happening. Hopefully within the next couple years. But because of the Ray Park thing, I know Darth Maul's kind of up in the air with who will be playing him. So yeah, I don't know who's playing Han Solo, but don't forget this is Han Solo after Episode 6. So isn't there a scene in Maz's castle at Battlefront 2 where he's like has a beard and he like does a mission? It's really awful. He looks for Chewie or something. But
yeah, it's kind of just forced in there, but it was still fun. Yeah, he's on Maz Kanata's castle on Takodana, and I think that's the only mission in the campaign.
But
on
does he
Takodana
leave? Does he leave at the end of the mission? Because I feel
it's
like
been a while since I played it.
yeah, same. And so I'm kind of curious if they're gonna find a way to tie that scene and that mission into the Book of Boba, and like that's why Boba shows up. Maybe he's looking for Han there or something.
He clearly knows Maz and has a good relationship with her and everything. So, I mean, even if he leaves in that campaign, it doesn't mean he's never going back there again. So I think either way it'll be okay.
Yeah, I'm really curious what they'll do with Han. Thank you, Christine, or Kristen, for the super chat. They said, "Do you think they'll have Harrison Ford and use deepfake tech to de-age Han, or have someone else play him entirely?" Also, love Chatooine. Keep it up, you guys. Thank you very much for the support. So, Longo, you think they're going to de-age Harrison Ford?
Yeah, I said it that when we were talking about a few weeks ago when they hired dude. I'm like, oh, they are definitely. When we were talking about if they're doing a Luke thing or whatever, I'm like, of course they hired that guy for a deepfake. And they realized how good he was. Yeah, that's definitely what they're going to do. They're going to be doing Luke again if he's in there as a deep fake, but it'll be much better, obviously, because that dude doing it, not whatever crappy people they had do the one out of Mandalorian. And they'll probably do the same thing with Han. Them announcing that they hired him, I think was a mistake. I think they should have kept that quiet, or had him keep it quiet.
Yeah, that like my source said, that kind of lines up with why he was hired and how soon it was with Book of Boba being in post-production around the time they hired him on Island. It really lines up with Luke showing up in the series. Are you guys okay with Luke and Han being in the series? I mean, these are two OG trilogy members, and Luke being in Mandalorian was a very special treat. But him showing up in Book of Boba, which is the first series right after Mandalorian that's live action, and then you're adding a Han Solo into it, I have a feeling some fans, if they pull this off, and I trust Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni very, very much so, I really think they're going to be able to pull this off. But I do think there are going to be some fans out there who are a little critical of this. And Palpamemes, I know we teased this like a month ago when he said some people are going to love this and some people are going to hate it.
Yeah.
How do you think people are going to react to both of these guys showing up in Book of Boba?
I think in the moment, just like with Luke, everyone's going like, "Oh my gosh, Luke Skywalker, it's Han Solo! Oh my gosh, this is amazing!" And then as some time goes by, people are going to look back and they're going to be like, "Was that really all that great?" I've always said if you revolve, or I'm okay with fan service. I love fan service. I mean, I love Luke and the Mandalorian. I really love Mandalorian season 2. I'm okay with it. But however, if you write and revolve an entire story around how much fan service and cameos you can throw in my opinion, they're doing it in the completely wrong way. And so if they do it that way in Boba Fett, where it's just every episode's a cameo of the week, as that kind of meme goes around, I'm gonna be very disappointed because we've gotten so much cameo, so much fan service, which again I'm okay with. However, when you throw in so many, it loses its specialty. It loses its kind of spark to it, because it's like, oh well, I guess Luke's cool, but I mean, yeah, I guess I kind of expected it because every other episode had a cameo and stuff. So there's not much specialty with that. However, if the story and everything lines up with it and it works well and it still has a way to kind of grow Boba Fett as a character, then at the end of the day I'm going to be cool with it. But Luke is my favorite character, so it doesn't matter what he shows up in. I'm going to be excited and happy. I just hope that Lucasfilm does not continue down the path of let's just write a mediocre story, which I'm not saying they have. Well, Bad Batch I thought was very lower than mediocre, and the only thing keeping it up was the cameos, because I'm not going to get into that. If they continue that line, I'm going to be very disappointed because I want good, deep, and meaningful writing, and then you can throw in fan service on top of that just for the cherry on top. So really, however they do the story is whether I think it's going to make or break it for fans.
Yeah, that's the key, is how they fit it into the story. Han makes more sense. Throwing Luke and Han in there, I think, is way too much. It's just like, come on. We just got him. Let Luke be busy doing his thing, okay? Because it's literally right afterwards, right? He just took Grogu. I mean, what are we talking about, A couple months later, and then we're running into him again, and it's Boba Fett. No, I mean, no. Leave Luke out of it. Maybe Han. Han would make a little more sense. He's just another dude like him, right? That would make more sense. He's not a Jedi and shit. But the story is really what's going to matter on this, if it's worthwhile or not. And again, obviously a writer can come up with a million things that'll work, and I get that. But I'm struggling to find a way in my brain, something that would be acceptable to where it's like, hey, yeah, this works.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine that Luke and Boba have a confrontation and Boba somehow comes away alive. Mainly if he's trying to get revenge on Luke. Han a little more so, because Han can run away. He's a smuggler, a scoundrel. That's kind of in his character to get out of those nasty situations. Not so much with Luke. And now that Boba has he's a mob boss now. Now that he has the resources, he can do a lot of damage. I want to move on to the last little bit of news that we have for the viewers and listeners, and that is the Kenobi series. And we're all extremely excited about it. We know that there's going to be some information about Kenobi, probably a lot of information in May of 2022 because of the Star Wars Celebration, and that they're done filming. I think they wrapped up this past week. I'm not entirely sure. I can't confirm it. I haven't reached out to anybody, but this will probably be the last little bit of scoops that I have for some time, but I wanted to share it before the Kenobi series hype train does begin. So I have two sources involved with the series, and one kind of gave me some vague information, basically saying that this is going to be a really wild and fun series. They said that fans are really going to like it for the aspects of fan service. They're apparently going all out in fan service. But the other source that I talked to kind of seems disappointed with the approach that not Lucasfilm but Disney is having with this series. And this source told me that Disney is really pushing this Kenobi series really hard, and they're kind of pushing it exactly how they pushed The Mandalorian, where The Mandalorian did a lot of good toy sales for season 2 and of course season 1, but it was kind of a surprise for season 1. Season 2, they pushed really big on the marketing and the merchandise because of toy sales with Grogu.
Which is literally the reason why they changed Boba's armor for this.
Yeah, that they're doing that with the Kenobi series, and they expect the Kenobi series to be a bigger deal than Book of Boba and even Ahsoka Tano series. But my source wasn't really happy about all this information. He was teasing that the series is relying on toy sales and that Disney wants it to be like The Mandalorian in terms of marketing. They said they want it to be really big. They said that this would make sense by the third episode of the Kenobi series. He said by then you will really see that push by whoever's making the series, whether it be Disney or Lucasfilm. You really see that push of commercialization and bringing out like things to sell and whatnot, because then audience will realize, at least by the third episode, that this show is being used to push toys and merchandise. So that's kind of the extent of what I'm allowed to say. And I'll be honest, I really think my source is kind of overreacting in many ways. There's someone who's very critical of Disney, and I doubt it's going to seem like the show is just a giant toy commercial. But they also know more than I do, so I just can't say they're wrong.
That's what Return of the Jedi was.
The prequels for sure.
Yeah, the prequels were definitely a marketing campaign. Like, it was nothing but toy sales.
Those freaking vending machines of pod racers on
it. They changed Wookiees to Ewoks for toys, bro. Let's just keep that in mind. You know that's why that happened. Because the Ewoks were more
Wookiees to Ewoks? No, I know that one was definitely a budget restraint on. They couldn't build the Wookiees as much, but George didn't kill Han Solo because Han toy sales were really great, and the only reason they could even fund Empire Strikes Back was largely due to toy sales. So Star Wars is built off of toy sales.
Yeah, and I could believe what your friend is saying just for one reason. If you look at I don't know if you've really looked at toy shelves when you've been to various stores, the Star Wars section. The only thing there literally is Grogu and some Din Djarin. That's all that's really left, and all the leftover Rey toys and stuff that nobody bought. Sorry, Palpa memes. The reality is nobody bought those damn toys.
I've got one.
I know you do, but nobody bought the toys. That's why they're still on the shelves, because nobody bought them. But yeah, there's hardly anything. So they're trying to rebuild it, and they know they can't because the OG fans are so pissed. It's like just re-releasing, old Luke and Han stuff or whatever. No one's gonna want it, right? They want the old stuff. So they have to rebuild a new market. So I could see them using this for that reason. So there could be some truth to that.
What do you think about memes? Do you think this is a kind of reminiscent of the prequels that me and you grew up with? Do you think this is kind of a bad sign for the Kenobi series?
Yes. Because it's pretty much apparent, and we already know this from the casting, we already know this from a lot of leaks and stuff, that this show is going to have cameo of the week, and we all have our own thoughts on that, but the one thing I wanted for this Kenobi show is to see this man go through a very deep, meaningful, and we talked about this before, a very deep, meaningful arc of failure, of depression, of blah, 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 whatever it is, remorse and everything because of his brother Anakin. And while that you can't make an entire show out of that, I'm okay with him going out and doing cool action adventure stuff. I'd love that. I can't wait to see that. But the fact that there's so many of these cameos that we're already hearing about, and the show doesn't even come out for a long, long while, I'm like, so is this going to be really about Kenobi, or is this going to be about throwing in as many, remember this person into the show? So I think as long as they still grow Kenobi as a character, as long as they actually give him an arc and stuff, because in the prequels, he didn't really have any development. I mean, he lost Anakin and was sad.
An Attack of the Clones.
Phantom Menace, he was like kind of pointless, except for the very end when he killed Maul. Attack of the Clones, he went to Kamino, and then Revenge of the Sith, I guess he's best friends with Anakin, and then they go against each other. But there's no arc for Kenobi, it's just like Yoda and stuff. There's no arc for them like they should have done. So as long as they go through with a very good arc with Kenobi, I'll be very, very okay. Yeah. They can sell as many toys as they want, but if these cameos just overtake everything about what the show's name is, which is Kenobi, I'm going to be very, very disappointed.
Hello there.
Well, you got to think. I mean, we have who's supposed to be in it? The two of the Inquisitors.
Yeah.
Darth Vader's supposed to be in it. There's definitely going to be a young Leia in it, maybe even a young Luke. Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru are going to be in it. Commander Cody, I think, is supposed to be in it as well.
I heard Cody.
God, have we talked about anybody else?
The Vader's Fist. That's what I was told. Like a year and a half ago, I was told a lot of plot details that from someone else who's heard, and it included Commander Cody. It included a lot of the stuff that's already been basically confirmed, but also the Vader's Fist apparently is going to be or 501st, whatever that Stormtrooper Legion that Vader runs. From what I was told, this is a long time ago. Yeah, it's going to be, that's who's going to be leading the hunt for Kenobi. I just don't know how they're going to make that in if they figure out he's on Tatooine, and then he's not on Tatooine, and then never search for him again. I don't know. Yeah,
because at first, what is it, 5 or 10 years, according to comics, after Revenge of the Sith, it was him and then his Legion going around hunting down the remaining Jedi. That's what he was doing.
So I guess with all these cameos and everything that we know about the series so far, it makes sense, at least from what my source is saying, that this is going to be a big marketing ploy for Disney and toy sales. Considering the Mandalorian probably can't fill that gap because it's been. I mean, we're going all through 2021 without any Mandalorian. And wait, did we get Mandalorian this year? Was that at the beginning of the year? No, that was the end of 2020. Yeah, I'm trying. God, the past
Yeah,
COVID sucks.
we got Bad Batch this year.
Fuck, yeah, that's why I can't remember anything. So yeah, we got no Mandalorian this year, and we're getting it probably really late into the fall of next year, closer to winter time. And I guess Kenobi is a good way to fill that time and get. I mean, they gotta have something that's marketable outside of Mandalorian, right? I mean, it really
Because we
feels
got
like
the one
that's
show
all
that
they have.
everyone keeps forgetting about because no one cares.
Bad Batch, yeah, I mean,
Cassian Andor.
Oh yeah,
jeez.
that too. I mean,
Oh boy.
what are they going to market with that? Like they're going to be like,
Right.
hey, here's Diego Luna, and
There's
people
no
are gonna be
toys.
like,
There are
"Who the
no
fuck is
toys in that
Yeah.
one at all. There's just
No,
nothing.
They can't market that one a lot. Book of Boba, you can, but I mean, I don't know with Book of Boba because honestly, right now as we speak, let's look at all the series that are coming out. We have Book of Boba, we have Star Wars Visions, we have Bad Batch season 2, Cassian Andor, and the Kenobi series. All of this coming out within a 1 year time span, and even Mandalorian season 3. We'll have that. So that's 6 shows in total, 6 series and 6 different seasons. Out of all of those, you guys can tell me if I'm wrong. I feel like the one with the most attention, the most hype, and the most interest is the Kenobi series. Whether us
Absolutely.
three find that the most intriguing one or not, that is the one that has the most attention. So it would
Yeah, I
make
would
it would make sense that Disney would be like, okay, statistically speaking, this one is getting a lot more engagement online. We really need to push toy sales for this motherfucker, and we really need to show people again that this is the Star Wars that some people like me and Palp Memes grew up with. If you're a prequel fan, this is the show for you. And for other people who maybe didn't love the prequels, this is it done right, or this is it again with new modern toys and whatnot. I don't know. The more I'm hearing about Kenobi, the more nervous I get. If we're being truthful, it's really swaying from what I expected it to be, and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's subverting my expectations in a very good way. But if it's really going to be something to push toy sales, kind of like the prequels did, and dude, if they waste Ewan McGregor again as Kenobi,
Ugh.
it's unforgivable. Like that is a fuck you to the max. Like that is a you really dropped the ball on that.
I have a feeling that I just want to know how much the story for this show has changed since the time it was originally going to be a movie. I want to know what that movie was going to be about, what Kenobi was going to go through, what we were going to see, compared to what it turned into as a show. Because I can't see them doing this many cameos, all this crap, and then the movie back then during that time period of Star Wars and Lucasfilm. So I would like to
we also
know
know
what they're
that
gonna do.
last year, remember, it was completely stopped for a complete script rewrite. So I mean, that happened
Yeah.
just during
So
this.
did Disney were like, hey, we don't, there's not enough fan service in here.
So
I don't know.
What I know about the first scripts was Hossein Amini was the guy who was writing it. Very good writer. Apparently, they were too close to the Mandalorian, where Kenobi was going to protect Leia and Luke, or most likely like a baby Luke or baby Leia, and I think they didn't like how similar it was. Ewan McGregor said he was fine with it, and then they rewrote it, and now it seems to have expanded in scope drastically. Now Commander Cody's in it. Now Darth Vader's in it. There's going to be a rematch with Darth Vader. Now the Inquisitors are in it, and they're going to be doing lightsaber battles with Kenobi. And like you're saying, Vader's fist is going to be in it, and Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. I heard this past year that Liam Neeson was in talks to return for this series specifically. So
Yeah, but that makes sense at least.
Yeah,
because
Yeah, of
I
course
can
that'll
see
grow
him
his character.
in his
Yeah.
depression talking Obi-Wan. I mean, basically Qui-Gon being his counselor, if
Yeah.
you will.
Mhm.
Literally,
Yeah, I could see that, and that at least makes sense. The 501st doesn't bother me because it's just a stormtrooper legion. That's not a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
Cody might be a little much because I don't see. I mean, we see him in Clone Wars and other stuff, but I don't necessarily think him and Obi-Wan would have had to have met again. You know what I mean? So Cody, I think maybe a little much. I don't think that's necessary. The Inquisitors, I actually don't mind because we've never really seen them in live action. You know what I mean? So that
Yeah.
that I think is pretty cool.
I think with all of it combined, it's going to be a little much, considering the series is going to be like maybe 6 episodes,
Yeah.
and so doing all of that in such a short time frame is, I'm still hell bent on the idea that Dave Filoni fucked the series over by killing Darth Maul in Rebels. Him not
man.
doing that would have been great. This will be the last super chat and question we take for the night. Big shout out to Dan the Man, because he is the man. He says, "How do we feel about Maul having a kid with Talon before episode 1? Also, will Luke and Han be played by Max Jones and Anthony Ingruber? What the fuck is his name?
Ingruber?
Maybe. I don't know who Max Jones or Anthony is.
Max Jones is the dude who did the deep fake for...
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Max Lloyd Jones, I think. I don't know.
No idea. I don't want Maul to have kids. People having kids is a problem in Star Wars. Please don't continue with Maul.
Especially with his personality. He was very driven
and
single minded. He's not stopping. I don't even see him stopping for like sex, let alone relationships. Okay, let's be fair.
He'd be like, "Sex is for the weak." He's like,
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, I've never even jerked off in 80 years or whatever. Unlike his counterpart.
He certainly didn't after Phantom Menace.
Can't anymore. I was gonna say.
God. The Night Sisters, Mother Talzin gave him his legs back, and she's like, "But for punishment of your loss, you will still lose your most vital organ."
Yes.
No manhood.
Poor guy. Anthony is the Harrison Ford lookalike. I think I know who you're talking about now.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of like fan casting stuff like that. I'm sure he would be fine if it's the guy I'm thinking about, and he's really good. But so just because you look and can do the voice of Han Solo doesn't make you the actor that can do Han Solo. And that was my argument for Alan Ehrenreich as well. So definitely curious on what Han's going to be in Book of Boba, if he's coming back, if it's going to be Alden or Harrison Ford deep faked or whatever.
Game guy has a good comment there. He says, "I want to see Obi-Wan break down and get mad at Qui-Gon for making him care about Anakin." If anyone's read Master and Apprentice, that even makes more sense if you've read Master and Apprentice.
I would like that too. I haven't read the book yet, though. I have it, and I have.
That's why I didn't give out the reason.
Okay. Well, maybe we can do it for a Star Wars or a Chatooine book club one day that we're gonna be doing. We can review that book, but that's all I have for you guys. You guys have anything you want to add to KOTOR, Book of Boba, or Kenobi series before we call it quits?
I can't wait. Future of Star Wars is brighter than ever, and I'm excited.
Yeah. KOTOR's, it's a while.
Simple
It's
as
going to
that.
be a while. I mean, I think it could be like third or fourth quarter, even 2023. That's how down the road I think it is.
I was thinking late 2024.
Late.
I imagine there's going to be some delays.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if
Gotta
you
forget
add
the
the
delays.
most like delays, it could end up being 2024 even if with the
Look
delays.
at the Lego game. Come on now. Come
Yeah.
on. It's going to be 2025 maybe.
That's a game no one cares about, and it's also during a pandemic.
Wrong.
Well, I think what's going to suck too is if KOTOR is delayed, since it's a PS5 exclusive, it's trying to be on the modern generation of consoles. If it waits another 3 to 4 years, the relevance of a PS5 is just going to drop every year, and because of the
They might
COVID.
be on a they might be on a strict timeline for this one.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. Well, that's it, guys. Thank you all for tuning in for Chatooine. This was a really good episode. Shout out to Goldman. I know he's not here with us, but big shout out to him over. Actually, I don't know where he's at right now. Over on Camino. But thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to Darth Daddy Lunga and Palp Memes. Their channels are in the description below, same as the Goldman. And if you guys want to save 15% on any Star Wars books, click the link in the description as well. I can't wait to see you all on Chatooine again. Until then, make sure you leave a like, give us a comment, check us out on Spotify if you haven't. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time, and may the Force be with you always.
What?